So today's insight is from Craig of CRS Editorial, who holds the proofreader seat. Over to you, Craig.
So today I wanted to mix it up a little. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the origins of CRS Editorial, detail about the importance of clear communication, and highlight how easy it can be to make a howler, the irony, that people will remember. And then I will finish with a little overview of the services that I offer, should you be interested. So as always, if you have any questions, then I'm happy to answer these at the end. So here we go. Glad you can see that. So here on slide 1, do you want your message to be clear? Of course you do. Your business is in the spotlight whenever you present at networking meetings like this, and whenever you speak with people. It is therefore important that your message is correct. Along with making words work for you, which is a strapline of mine, a mantra I also like to use is you only get one chance to make a first impression. So with this in mind, it's important your presented text is on the money. Now, there's somewhat of a misconception when it comes to editing and proofreading, especially proofreading. People often think because they know of the word and they can spell, and therefore they will be okay. We'll come on to that a little bit more in a little while, but when I present a few recent examples I've seen whilst out and about, hopefully you'll be able to see that for yourself. Clear communication is all about using plain English. There's no need to try blind people with science to prove your intellect, as ultimately messaging needs to be understood. Therefore, plain English, using words all people will understand, will mean your message will reach a wider audience. I think there's a lot to be discussed when it comes to the use of plain English, so perhaps that's a presentation for another time. So who represents CRS Editorial? Yep, you guessed it, it's little old me, just me. Having fallen in love with English, the English language, and its use in various forms, including in novels and in the media from quite a young age, roles with a few publishing houses, local media outlets, and time as a broadcast journalist, plus writing for my local paper, I kind of always knew that this would be the career for me, really. That is, obviously, once I'd left aspirations of being a footballer or, yes, Rachel, a Formula 1 driver at the door. My mum, bless her, didn't like the idea of me having a trial in pretty quick go-karts when I was a young teenager, so here I am, boring you. Anyway, I digress. A final year dissertation on the representation of women in sport in the press combined my love of investigation with writing and sport whilst at uni. If time allowed, I would love to revisit this subject and chart the findings since circa 2000. I think there's certainly a long way to go, but I'd like to think we're on the right lines, at least with regards to this subject matter. Okay. Rambo 3, this is not. Carry on proofing 3, this is. What follows, there are a few latest howlers I've seen whilst out and about. Those who have been there for previous insights will have noticed there's been, obviously, parts 1 and parts 2. In my mind, proofreading howlers make the signage, the people, the organisations look unprofessional. Checking over text or getting a professional to do so takes minutes, but the effects of not doing so can be long-lasting. And ultimately, who wants to be remembered for their business or making mistakes? Not any of us on this call, I'm sure. So, a few examples I've seen whilst out and about. Well, this one is actually my diary from last year, the start of a new year, good old January. Thankfully, this was the end of the previous year in my diary and not the start of a fresh, brand new diary, as it wouldn't have been the best start to the year. Even so, another mistake that is best to avoid is the rogue lettering, when all I wanted to do was not wait any longer and book a snooker table at my local club. Different examples as we move on. All the talk at the moment is about AI, but a bot of everything at a restaurant? No thanks. There's some really nice sounding meals on this menu as well, so it's a shame that this oversight stands out, and not only because I've highlighted it here. The importance right here of getting someone to check over your work, as quite often you are too close to it and there's no objectivity. That is something that somebody external to your business can bring. The example on the right, a window cleaner, they're fully insured and reliable, but the incorrect use of an apostrophe, in my mind, lets their signage down, unfortunately. People do notice these things, and not just those trained to notice as well, because it's quite big in that font and text. Now, I think this has got to be one of my favourites in inverted commas. What do you notice about this visitor entrance? This particular example, yes, there's only 2 words here, but there's 2 mistakes nevertheless. Firstly, there's a letter missing, as you can see in the first word. Then we could say that visitors should have an apostrophe, as it is the entrance for the visitors. Next up, this little fella, the mole. I love nature, so looking out for a little mole was quite exciting, to be honest. But upon reading this sign, it wasn't necessary to misspell the word necessary. And it's right down at the bottom, if you've not seen it yet. On a recent trip to London, I saw this perler. The disappointing thing here for me is that the North Circular is correctly referenced on the left. But if you're travelling west, well, you are taking the North Circular, which, to be fair, for anyone who has driven in London, it's probably more apt, but even so. And then finally, we've probably seen this one doing the rounds on socials. This is my personal favourite. These pastries look like bread to me, but hey ho, that's not the issue at play here. The real thing is, yes, let's leave the tongs. We're all friends, so why use tongs when you can use your tongues to pick the pastries? This one really did make me chuckle when I saw it, I must admit. I mean, funny as it is, though, it does cause unnecessary embarrassment for the business and people involved. Of the examples I've shown you, you may consider some of them as being overly pedantic, but I don't think it is, to be perfectly honest, because you do only get that one chance to make a first impression. And this goes for all things in life. So if you can get the supposedly small things right, it is surely a good place to start. So here is a little overview of the things I offer. I don't expect you to read through all this, but the following few slides highlight the services that I offer my clients. So as you can see from the editing side of things, this involves studiously reading the text and offering suggestions and recommendations to authors, be it a work of fiction, a business resource, or digital learning module. The track changes you did see on the editing one, I've moved on, my apologies. Just gives you a little indication of the kind of things that I detail as well. Ultimately, you want your message to resonate with your intended audience, so getting a full grasp of what people require is crucial. This proofreading slide, proofreading can be done on already designed work, such as the double-page spread example shown here, which is from a law and insurance magazine. And here you can see the annotated comments to the designer in PDF to ensure that the message is clear. I would say all in all to consider a proofreader the last line of defence before your work is published. And if it is going live to the world, you want it to be right. There's those all important first impressions again. And then finally, we have copywriting. Interviewing people and writing features for magazines and programmes is something I love doing. Helping people articulate their message and promote their service to many means having a good structure. So that's knowing where to start, leading with the things that will pull in readers and enticing them to read on. But importantly, having a strong middle and a thought-provoking ending, complete with a call to action. That is a whistle-stop tour, and I hope you're still awake. And if anyone has any questions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you want to receive that presentation, just let me know and I'll send it to you. Thank you.